impressed me about Greg Rahe. But one of the ones was that he was just tireless.
You know, it was one of the most amazing things to me was always we would get back from a road trip at 2 or 3 in the morning, and at 6:30 when my clock radio alarm went off, there's Greg Rahe's voice talking to us.
It was easy to get to know, easy to be friends with, and as a result of that, I thought everything just went smoothly.
He was always good about his interviews with coaches from the 1A level. He always did a great job with them. He never felt like your games were any less important than anybody else's games.
Diving to the end zone. Does he get in? Touchdown Emporia State. Great catch. Trey Buchanan for 3. He hit it. Caden Brooks, he'll break a tackle. He's at the 10. He's at the 5. He's in. Touchdown Emporia State. And the Lady Hornets, ranked 15th in the nation. They were a number 4 seed in the regional, and they come through and win a national championship.
I had a chance to live my dream of being a sports broadcaster and covering athletics, and it has been my pleasure that that dream came to fruition.
My name is Greg Rahe, and for the last 35-plus years, I have been the sports director for Emporia's radio stations, KVOE AM, FM, and Mix 104.9. And as a part of that, I've also been the radio play-by-play voice for Emporia State University Athletics. I came to Emporia and KVOE at the same time. My first day was August the 3rd, 1987.
I think it stood out immediately to me how hardworking he was. I mean, I was always amazed when you listened to the sportscast he did. Good grief, how full they were. Hi, my name is Tim Miller. I'm the sales manager of the radio stations. I've worked with Greg for the full 35 years he's been here. Do I think his work ethic inspires others to work harder? I don't know how it can't, because you certainly don't want to lag behind the lead dog, so to speak. And I think Greg sets a great tone.
Yeah, the dedication that he put into his job was extraordinary. I'm Kent Weiser. I was the director of athletics at Emporia State from 1999 to 2022. He is without a doubt one of the hardest working people I've ever seen.
Can you talk a little bit about where that work ethic comes from?
The fear of getting fired. No, it probably comes from my parents, from watching my dad and even grandparents. You know, if there was a job that would be done, you did it.
He was always there. That's the person who was there. You know, it wasn't going to be, someone for this sport or someone for that sport. It wasn't going to be someone covering football, someone covering basketball, but somebody else covering baseball, softball, volleyball. I mean, it was Greg Rahe. He was always there. Well, I probably first met Greg Rahe during football season in 1988, I believe it was. I was here as a student athletic trainer, believe it or not. So we didn't have a lot of contact with him, but Greg's the type of guy that he wanted to be out there, and he wanted to be at practice, and he would be at all of our games, obviously, and I'd be able to do that.
It's just what I felt like I needed to do the job that I was asked to do. And part of that job was, we want you to cover, and on the air, we want to know about everything that happens sports-wise in Emporia, and you need to have audio with that, and you need to have a story to tell.
Can you recall back to the first time you ever played?
I can, and I can guarantee you I remember better than Greg does, but it was, I think, our last home game my senior year, and I had a good game, backup catcher,
Had a really good game offensively, so Greg took the time to interview me and honestly made me feel like I was as important as the best player on our team, and I always appreciated that. My name is Marcus Urkel, and I am the golf professional here at Emporia Golf Course. Came here to play baseball at Emporia State and did that 2001 to 2003. Getting a Greg Rahe interview after a game, you knew you did something good. I'd say that's what you were at. Whether you went into the game thinking that way or it was just afterwards, you were awfully proud of yourself knowing that he was going to interview you for sure.
It seemed like he really enjoyed being around the players, the coaches. So when he wasn't doing his job, he felt like one of us, I guess. Michelle Stevie Corpening. I played from 2004 to 2008. He always had the biggest smile, and when I was in an interview with him, it just, it felt like two friends talking.
Looking at those years in between getting the job and when I played, and him being a known name to me, I thought that was cool. Garen Higgins, head football coach, played quarterback here at Emporia State from 1987 to 1990. He was always supportive and not judgmental, or why'd you make that call, or things that you may get from fans or armchair quarterbacks.
We went 33-1 and we were 33-0, so we were undefeated all season long. My name is Amanda Gutierrez. It was Amanda Flick back in the mid to late 90s. I played at Emporia State from 96 through 98. There was always kind of this buzz in the community about, are they going to lose before, when are they going to lose, when are they going to lose? And I remember having several media sessions with Greg after games. And I don't know, it's like he was the one person who believed that we were never going to lose. I think he had more belief in us maybe than we even did.
Jesus said, love one another as I have loved you. And I know at times I don't do it that way, but that's what I hope comes across is that I'm trying to do, is show that kindness and that concern for the person I'm dealing with.
He has taken the aspect of covering local sports to a whole new level. Ron Thomas, general manager, been here since 1987. Greg has interviewed thousands and thousands of young athletes here, and I've talked to hundreds of parents who have had their kids interviewed by Greg, and it's very important that and a great experience for them to have to step up to the microphone and to get the kind of coverage that they're getting, and it gives them a good life experience having to answer questions and they get that coverage. So Greg has provided that experience to all kinds of athletes.
Greg is a great voice for ESU and for Emporia High, but he has done an equally fantastic job in making our small schools, surrounding schools, an important part of his business.
There was no real difference in how he approached an Emporia State game as opposed to Lebo, Opie, anybody else that was playing.
He would cover stories the same no matter what. I mean, it didn't matter if you were winning the watermelon seed spitting contest or Brian Shea was winning the Harlan Hill Award. I mean, he still put that same enthusiasm into it.
Everybody has a story. Everybody, it's not the same story. Some stories have a little more glamour to it. Others have a little more sadness to it. But everybody deserves to be respected and treated like they matter.
He truly seems like he cares about the people, He's not just doing a job. And sometimes, especially in this day and age, it's hard to find that.
Each and every game has its own importance. For the people who are participating, that game is pretty important to them. And you have to treat it with that same respect of, hey, this is an important game for those people, and especially for those people who may be listening, because they may be listening for maybe their son or their grandson or niece or nephew or whoever it may be. They're hoping to hear their kid's name on the radio, and it's a great joy for that to happen, and Greg is the reason for that.
He's always focused on the athletes, on the schools, and on the coaches, never about himself. And to me, that's a great personality to have for a broadcaster.
Greg has a strong faith. He's a spiritual man. And I think that just then comes across in how he treats people. I think he treats everyone the same, whether they're a football player, a gymnast, a cross-country runner. They're a student athlete to him, and I think he treats them all the same.
He always had the best interest, not only for our team, our players, our school, but me professionally as well. And my name is Bo Welch. I'm currently the athletic director, assistant principal here at the high school. This is my second year in this role after serving as the high school head basketball coach here for 12 years. Greg, he knew everybody in the area, and he knew what was going on in the area and who won games and what was going on with different teams. And I just enjoyed, having that common kind of bond on, the things that we kind of cared about.
You can see his energy building and his own excitement building in the run up to pregame, and then with the package segments, you can almost see the energy channeling for that last segment. The segment that we had before we would set the stage. My name is Chuck Samples, at KVOE since October 2002, current news director, former Emporia State color commentator on football. There's a great amount of energy that he's putting into that broadcast, and the fun thing about that was being able to riff off of that, for the great plays or, sometimes the disappointment when things didn't go Emporia State's way.
Greg has this unbelievable ability to transport you to White Auditorium or to Welch Stadium, even when you're not even in town. You feel like you're sitting right there in the stands. My name is Tegan Trahoon. I came to KVOE back in September of 2017. I've been the sideline reporter for Emporia State football now, I think for about 4 years. I took over for the legendary Ron Thomas, and it's been a blast ever since. You feel like you are right there, front row, watching the game.
Hornets pick up the blitz. Brent to throw. Pass caught. Ball Williams. 50, 45, 40, 30, 25, 15, 10. He's going to take it to the house. Touchdown Emporia State. Pass intercepted by Kelly Moten. Kelly down the floor. Layup at the other end. Good for Kelly Moten.
Everything works smoothly.
A lot of people in our positions can sometimes get a big head and think that they are, God's gift to the world. Greg looks at the world as God's gift to him.
This business is rife with people who are in it for, hey, look at me. There's that look at me deal specifically on the sports side. And I can call a game, stick in whatever you want to. But Greg has never had that from what I've been able to tell. And it's always about the people that he's covering. And that is the big deal for me. Regardless of whether he's on air or off air, he's always conducted himself in a way that brings honor and credit to the station and to the people that he's covering.
The thing I'm going to miss most about Greg has nothing to do with broadcasting. The thing I'm going to miss most about him is sitting back in the newsroom just on a regular day. It's dead silent, and then all of a sudden, to my left, I'll hear and I'll turn and I'll look, and Greg's watching like some funny video on Twitter or on Facebook that just came across his timeline, and he's just giggling. He's 60 years old, and he just looks like a 10-year-old, just kind of smiling and laughing. And then I'll scoot over and I'll watch the video with him, and we'll start laughing together. And we'll start making fun of whatever happened in the video, and we just start talking, and we start looking for more videos, and we just have a really good time where you just feel at peace.
Greg getting inducted in the ESU Athletics Hall of Honor was kind of a surreal experience because, first off, he was the first broadcaster inducted into the Hall of Honor, and that's an incredible honor in and of itself.
I would have never envisioned myself being inducted into the Emporia State Athletic Hall of Honor.
I was thinking, how could you describe Greg? And, when you say a legend, that a lot of times that means you're old. But he's not old, and he's just done a lot of good things for a lot of years. And but I think icon maybe comes into play because, he's the voice of the Hornets.
I couldn't think of a more deserving person to be in the Hall of Honor than Greg Rahe. I mean, he has put 35 years of his life into this university, in this athletic department, and he knows everybody who's in there in some way, shape, or form.
We had a lot of good teams between when I retired in 98, when he came on, I think, in 88, so there were 10 years in there, and we had a lot of big games. Ron Slaymaker, I started in 1970 as the head coach, and I retired in 1998. It wasn't just the championship games, it was all the games. And he seemed to be very consistent in terms of how he approached each game. Obviously, as I would think back and listen to him, he got pretty excited.
He did what he was supposed to do, and that's to bring the game, to paint a picture of the game on the radio, and he had the ability to do that. It was remarkable.
It is humbling, it's an honor, and it's one that I'll cherish. My picture will be up there, and a lot of people will say, well, who's that guy? And somebody will probably say, oh, he used to broadcast the games. Hopefully they'll be able to remember with and say, he was pretty good too.
I don't think you can mention Greg Rahe without mentioning his famous sign-off.
Greg had a sign-off that was unique for Greg Rahe.
Hearing Greg sign off the way he does was kind of soothing, and it's kind of the norm.
I bet a lot of people would say that, they were going somewhere and stopped what they were doing, didn't get out of the car to go do what they were doing, just to hear Greg and hear him finish, his segment on KVOE. And
that catchphrase, like I said, it brings joy for me, so I know it does for a lot of other people. And if he didn't sign off that way, I'd probably call up and say, what the heck's going on?
About kind of how that came about and how that kind of came to your sign-off.
It just happened. I'm being honest. But one day it's something that rolled nicely, rolled off the tongue, and it just worked.
It's something you expect to hear. It's something that when I hear it, I can't help but smile.
It is kind of amazing how it has become kind of my moniker, so to speak.
Hearing him finish a radio broadcast, finish a game, I think, the interviews and so on that he always did the same way, it's certainly going to be missed.
He always says it in such a manner of excitement that, it's not like, he's not repeating a phrase. It's like, hey, I really mean this.
That is just symbolic, and it's synonymous with Greg. And it's because of how he deals with us, in the station and out.
Somebody will walk down the hall and they're leaving for the day and they'll just say, have a good day. And then somebody inevitably from one of the offices will yell out, Greg Rahe, KVOE Sports.
I've had a lot of people come up and say that to me.
That's it for now.
Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Greg Rahe.
Greg Rahe.
Greg Rahe.
KVOE Sports. And that's it for now. Have a good day. Greg Rahe, KVOE Sports.
He's been a big part of the success that we've had at KVOE and is a big part of the morning show, so he certainly will be missed.
Thank you, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Greg Rahe.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you for what you've done.
From the bottom of my heart, thank you, Greg Rahe.
For KVOE and these radio stations and this community, and for all these student athletes and coaches, thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
You are a true Hornet. Stingers up. best of luck, and we sure are going to miss you.
Thank you, Greg, for all you've done.
Thank you so much for everything you've done, Greg. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Greg Rahe.